This is all creepy. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 23rd episode of the show Power Rangers in Space, as well as the 273rd episode overall, titled A Date with Danger. We begin this episode immediately in a battle with the Morph Rangers fighting some bull monster who is definitely some part of Ecliptor. Zane rides in as Astronema is there watching with Quantrons. He drives right through them as she calls out yet another monster who tackles Zane off of his bike. He starts to fight him solo and he taunts Astronema. She then starts firing at Zane, but he rolls in front of the monster, so she hits the monster instead. The monster then starts to turn on her, attacking around her. Zane kind of laughs about this, and Astronema gets tossed pretty hard, and he calls out the Super Silverizer. But the Galaxy Glider shows up. He takes Astronema and leaves. The others then use the Quadro Blaster, hitting the bull monster, blowing it up, but a piece of it teleports away. In the forest somewhere, Astronema's knocked out in the grass, and we finally get a good up-close shot of her to see the makeup work that they've been doing on her. Zane is nearby with a fire and a kettle, but he doesn't have his helmet on and her staff is away. She wakes up only to pretend to be asleep again. Zane comes over to her and she wakes up freaking out. He made her some sort of drink saying it's good for her. Zane, what the fuck is all of this? Astronema says yuck, and Zane says maybe it needs more salt, going over to the pot. He takes the cup saying it needs more salt. He puts it on as she creeps up behind him with her staff. She says that she could kill him right now and Zane says, you could, but I don't think you will. Then he puts a fucking marshmallow on the end of her staff? Zane's trying to fuck. He then roasts the marshmallow and she takes it back, tasting it. How does he know about this? He's from KO35. Is this a KO35 thing? She then gets pissed, saying that they're enemies now and forever. But then she gets quiet, saying thanks for saving me. Teleporting away. On the megaship, everyone's hanging out in the lounge and Cassie is reading the paper, seeing a movie ad for star-crossed lovers. And Ashley immediately freaks out about how it's a lover story. They grab Andros and TJ and Carlos say no way, but Cassie says come on, now, like punching her own fist. I love Cassie. TJ asks about Zane and Ashley says they'll go ask, freaking out as she drags Cassie away. On the Dark Fortress, Astronema is looking out the window and Elgar is in the background telling Ecliptor how she's been sitting there all day. Ecliptor walks over, saying that the monster named Horrible was destroyed, but they still got good data on the Rangers' weapons. Astronema's not paying attention as he asks if they're still proceeding with the plan to disable the Rangers' weapons with the information crystal, that piece that we saw disappear before from the Horrible. Also, Zane is looking at a photo of Astronema in his bed. Cassie and Ashley walk in, lucky that he's not spanking it. They grab him running out. Also, Astronema has a helmetless press photo of him. This episode is like surreal. Ecliptor brings Astronema her favorite meal and she says that she's not hungry. Ecliptor asks if something is wrong and she says no, and Ecliptor calls her out, saying that he's known her since she was a little kid, and basically he raised her. He wants to know what he can do to help her. Astronema insists that nothing is wrong and she wants to be alone. Ecliptor says that, oh, by the way, the Rangers are at a movie theater. Want me to send down the Horrible? Bitch, why are you guys so creepy? Astronema says no, take no action until she gives the order. She then looks at herself in the mirror using perfume. She then teleports out. At the theater, the Rangers are leaving, talking about how romantic the film was, and Zane seems to be a little messed up. Astronema teleports in behind the building and she transforms into regular clothes, which is cool to see. Then Zane imagines a movie poster being him and Astronema, and he gets this dumbass look on his face. He then walks into a woman helping her with her items. It's Astronema in disguise, and Zane is freaked out by her a bit. He says he has to catch up with his friend, saying, see ya, running away, and Astronema looks after him. She starts to tell him that he dropped something and she opens it, revealing that it is her own photo. She's pleased by this, leaving. This is all creepy. Zane catches up with the others, but then explosions go off all around them. Then an arrow with a note flies through the air, hitting into a tree next to Zane. Also, Astronema has a novelty-sized bow and arrow now. What the actual fuck is this episode? The note says, meet me at the campfire at 5 o'clock, Astronema, with a total different photo of her. Zane checks his watch, getting spooked. I mean, is it almost 5 already? Ecliptor puts the information crystal back into Horrible, and he calls for Elgar, who says, word up. I love him. Ecliptor says to inform Astronema that they're ready to attack, and Elgar says that she's not there, and Ecliptor is sure that she would want them to proceed, so he sends Horrible down. The others are eating, talking about the movie, when their communicators go off. They run off, and Alpha explains that another Horrible is attacking. The morphed 5 Rangers flip into the scene, facing Horrible. They try to hit him with their individual weapons, but they're blocked by invisible shields, it seems. Also, Astronema has a campfire ripe for fucking. Zane gets home getting changed and ready, while he puts on his clothes over his Digimorpher. Also, the others are still failing this fight against Horrible. Their weapons are absolutely useless. Then Ecliptor shows up confirming this. They make the Quadro Blaster and the Spiral Saber plus the Astro Blaster combo, and nope. Alpha sees this as Zane is walking by ready for his date. He tries to sneak by, and Zane is so pissed that he gets caught. Alpha wants him to come and look at things for himself. They're getting their asses kicked. Zane looks at his watch, asking if they're sure that they actually need him, and yeah, they're like dying. He realizes that he lost his Digimorpher, telling him to hurry. Zane is now scavenging his room, finding his Digimorpher. Let's rock it. Zane then zooms in, hitting Horrible and Ecliptor down with his cycle. He regroups with the others, and there's a weird bit where TJ falls down again. Astronema is also wondering where Zane is, pissed. Zane then says he'll take it from here, taking out his Super Silverizer as he beats the crap out of Horrible. Clearly that data was missing. Ecliptor says he'll pay for that, but Andros comes in with a 0-1 button from his Battleizer, and Ecliptor retreats. Zane then hits the horns off of Horrible, which makes him grow giant somehow. When he's giant, Zane gets in on his cycle, leaving, telling the others to handle it from here. Astronema's wondering what's taking him so long. The others call out their Astro Megazord and they're hit down pretty quickly. Zane hopes he's not too late. Andros calls out for the Delta Megazord, forming the Astro Delta Megazord. Now they use a flying power punch with his Horrible killing him. R.I.P. weird ass thing. At the campsite, Zane rides in on his motorcycle, powering down with flowers in tow, which Astronema blows up and everything around him, hitting him down into the mud. She says that no one stands her up, and he says he didn't stand her up. She says he's late, and he says he wouldn't have been if she didn't send a damn monster. And she says, I didn't send a monster. There's nothing really to talk about here. She never wants to see Zane again. She teleports away. I feel like that would have been a really good moment for you to kill him. On the megaship, the Rangers are all trying to push each other forward to go talk to Zane, who is clearly super depressed. Ashley gets pushed forward and she asks if he's okay, but he doesn't answer. She returns and they send Andros, who says that he looks bummed. No answer. They send Cassie, who tries to come back, but then they send her again. I love this bit. Cassie says that he can talk to them about anything, and she's trying to look all happy and whatnot. All Zane says is, thank you, getting up and leaving, head down low. This is the only good acting bit we've actually seen from Zane. Astronema crumples up Zane's photo in anger, but then she unfolds it, looking at it again, smiling to herself. The end. This episode's super weird, but honestly it's kind of fun. I mean, yeah, logistically it makes zero sense. and it's pretty weird. But I love it because we get to see some really good stuff from Zane. Like, how he's pretty much like a careless dick who doesn't care if the Rangers are dying. He wants to go get some poon. Again, this is so different from anything we've ever seen before, and I love it. We now know for sure that Ecliptor raised her, which really puts into perspective their father-daughter relationship. Good stuff all around, if not quite a bit silly. Next time, the episode title is very misleading. But until then, may the power protect you.